Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It is with great honor and privilege that we are here with Representative Sylvia Garcia. She's representing us in Washington, D.C., and is advocating on behalf of business for her community, for her district that she represents. And you should know that she was one of the founders of this Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that today advocates for business and is doing the work to make sure that our community thrives. And so without further ado, let me please welcome you, Congresswoman Garcia. Thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always great to be back home. We went through an extended period of voting, and then we ended up staying at the floor till midnight, and then they kept us caused us for me not to come even home till Saturday. So I feel like I'm behind schedule, but I'm looking forward to the Easter season.
Well, we're happy to have you in Houston, and we know your work doesn't end when you leave DC, but you've got all types of other work here locally with constituents business. We've had a challenging, last few years for our entrepreneurs. What words can you provide to them to give them some type of hope as we look at what's happening nationally?
Well, first of all, that we don't forget them. We know every day that the heart and soul of what keeps our economy going, what keeps the economy going here in the Houston region and for Texas is small businesses. Without all our smart businesses, all our small suppliers that feed into the other industries, things just wouldn't happen. So we don't forget them. And in fact, if you'll recall during the pandemic, when we had the PPP loans, we carved out some dollars to make sure that our small businesses could get those loans and that it wouldn't just go to all the big companies that have what I call the big bankers to take care of things for them. We wanted to make sure that our small businesses, and we even had a special program for the small restaurants, the small funeral homes, because we need to make sure that they can compete. And it's hitting our businesses just like it's hitting our households. It's our pocketbooks. We're seeing less and less money in our pockets and more uh, higher prices at the gas pump, at the grocery store, at the light with the light bill, with our home insurance. I tell everybody everything is going up except our economy. The stock market is going down. We're not doing well, and we need to make sure that we get it recalibrated so that our businesses thrive, our markets thrive, and our economy keeps going. But Laura, I got to tell you, it's the war is really impacting us. At first, it was the tariffs, but now it's the war, especially on the gas prices.
So do we see any end in sight for people who are working paycheck to paycheck that are really the ones that are being negatively impacted, Congresswoman? Do you see light at the end of the tunnel here?
Well, I always do because I'm optimistic, and I know that all these things are sometimes are cyclical, or they come with are part of another issue, like the pandemic. It causes it, the struggles in our markets, the struggles for our businesses was as a result of the pandemic. Now we know this is a result of the war. And for some of us, we're opposed to the war. We don't want to we don't want to vote for any more money for it. We don't want our ground troops. We don't want our sons and daughters having to go to this war that we're not even sure why we're there. So we don't really know right now where the war is going and what is the strategy there may be. We're still waiting for the White House to give us a sense of some direction. So it's really hard to tell anyone that there's light at the end of the tunnel because we're really not crystal clear about it. But I can say this, we continue to fight every day to make sure that our small businesses have a fair shake. And I do that every time that we meet in financial services. I'm on that committee, and that's the one that deals with all the banks, with all the finances, with all the economic policy. And we always make sure that our small businesses are treated equally. And I know the other area that businesses are struggling is the workforce. And I know you at the Chamber and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and many groups are looking at that. And that is being impacted a lot by our immigration policy. So that too, we're waiting to see what changes we can make because our businesses need workers and our workers need business. It takes two to tango. And right now, nobody knows what the next dance is going to be.
Well, on that note, as we discuss the workforce, we know that it is negatively impacting especially farm workers, hospitality, those in construction.
Mhm.
What guidance, what words of advice do you have for those sectors in particular?
Well, again, it's much like with business. They need to just kind of keep going and rest assured that we continue to fight for them. I know I have, as you know, my Dream Act that we're trying to make sure that our dreamers are protected and that they don't end up being deported. And we're having issues because the White House has taken a different view about our DACA recipients. So we worry about that. But we know that together we will be united as we move forward. And I think that businesses just need to make sure that they're careful and that they wait it out as much as they can. Just as we did that during the pandemic, we all kind of regrouped and worked together, and we got through it. And I know we'll get through this stage too. And I'm very hopeful that the next quarter will be better.
Yes, and for them to see our elected officials that are absolutely advocating to find these solutions and that they know that they are not alone, that we are advocating every day, having many conversations. And so stay at it, stay involved, and let's help one another get to this next phase. Speaking of course, the World Cup, it's around the corner, and that's going to bring some great opportunities to continue to promote the Houston area, our region, but again, on the international stage. So on that note, we're seeing what has been transpiring at our airports, which seems to be better. Can you give us any insight from your perspective on how those things are shaking out and some comfort again to our travelers that are visiting the great city of Houston?
Well, the good news is that the TSA workers, the people that actually help you get through the security lines, did start getting paychecks yesterday, Monday, and Tuesday. But we're not clear yet. The shutdown is still in place. The dollars were dollars that were found that are there that quite frankly have been there that could have been used, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but the White House just chose not to do it. And I think people need to be clear. The Senate bill that was passed would have put all this behind us, would have paid them. We could have moved forward and dealt with the issues regarding ICE on a later date. But then when it went to the House said, no, we don't want to do that. We want ICE funded. We want everything funded, and chose a different path. So now both sides are doing something different, which caused it to not really happen. But all along, the White House has had money there for that doesn't go through appropriations. They've had billions of dollars there available to the Department of Homeland Security that they've chosen not to use. They paid Secret Service, they paid some people from the Coast Guard, some people from FEMA, but not TSA. Frankly, I'm beginning to think that they really just did it to create this chaos and to create this pain on Americans so that they could blame the Democrats. But I don't want to get into partisan issues here. Suffice it to say that the Senate version, there was at least 8 or 9 different times that they could have voted to put this behind us. Here was another time, but we haven't. So the good news is they're there. The lines are not as long anymore. But the bad news is there's no final permanent solution. We still have to face that when we go back. The White House is threatening that they want us to go back next week, right after this. We're currently on a 2-week Easter break, but they may call us back next week so that we can find a permanent solution. But Laura, for us as Democrats, we will not be a part of funding ICE for one more penny unless they make some real reforms. And for many of us, I know for me, the red line is they really should have warrants before they break into someone's house and try to go into someone's house. And 2, officers really should be identified and they should not be wearing those masks. There's probably 5 or 6 other things I could rattle off, but those 2 to me are like red lines. When I go everywhere in my district, or even outside my district in Houston, people just don't understand. If these are police officers, why do they wear masks? The sheriff's constables don't wear masks. HBD doesn't wear masks. You know, security doesn't wear masks. Nobody does. So why does ICE insist that they have to wear masks? Ask yourself that. It just doesn't really make any sense. There's no really valid public safety issue involved here.
Well, Congresswoman, again, we want to thank you for all that you and your team are doing, representing us not only here in Houston, but in Washington, D.C., and would like to give you an opportunity to wrap up with any closing comments.
Well, first of all, so many Easter blessings to you and your family. And I know that we're all concerned about uh, being able to have a little more money in our pocketbook so that we could really celebrate and maybe go visit someone for Easter or have the traditional egg hunts and the all the different traditions that your family may have. And please know that we're working on it. We know that things are much higher cost today than they were even a year ago. I mean, even gas prices for us. And think about it, Dr. Murillo, we are Houston. We're the energy capital of the world. This is where it starts. Usually our prices are some of the lowest in the nation, but even for us, they've gone up to 60 cents to a dollar, depending on which gas pump you go to. So we know you're concerned about that, but please know that many of us hear you. We're working on it, and there will be change. Just be patient, and don't stop believing, and don't stop being prayerful, so that all our country can get through these difficult times.
Congresswoman, our thanks to you and your team. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.